Alright, this is the disclaimer. First off, the game is in closed beta, which means that there are things that I can and can't talk about. Particularly the economy. We don't have much information about it yet, so don't bother asking. Second, the game's in closed beta, which means that as you're watching this video, things in it might or might not still be relevant and or accurate. Third, I am not an employee of Horizon, so leading to fourth, my opinions are my own. So take that for what it's worth. And lastly, any video or audio contained in this video is copyright to its respective owners. With that in mind, please enjoy the video. And if you do enjoy it, please click like and consider subscribing. Thank you. See you in the sky.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to SkyWeaver Weekly, Episode 7. Today we're going to be going over some news, and then we're going to be doing a deep dive into wisdom. So, without further ado, on to our breaking news. Well, first, I want to thank, you can see up in the top right corner, Dark Cobra. Dark Cobra is responsible for the animation that you see of the title screen in the background, so thank you to him for making it and allowing us to use it for our series. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, or actually, you know what? I'll let you hear for yourself. This is from Marcelo and from the community stream that was up just last week.
I believe that we don't have any of the original art of the game right now on the cards. Everything has been reworked and it's now in a better resolution, or some cards were completely reworked because the art was not up to our standards. And the same thing was going to happen with the heroes, right? So here we have. Those will be 4 of our new heroes.
Right, so from what he is saying, in the new engine, the cards, all the cards have been reworked, different resolutions, and from what I've been told, some cards have just ceased to exist. But we do have some new cards. So we get a sneak peek at a few that were on display, and so we're going to take a look at them. So here we have Tychus. He is that's Wisdom, and ironically enough, Tychus with Wisdom, 3/6 lifesteal for 6, and a glory ability we've never seen before. Draw from the enemy's deck. So that's an interesting card. Whether or not that's a top card or a random card, either way, stealing a card from your opponent's deck, definitely very interesting. Second sneak preview we got was Boulder and Bit. Boulder, a 3/3 guard for 2. Pretty awesome, pretty powerful. Also in the strength. Prism, along with Bit, 4 cost for a 2/8 with armor and guard. And at the start of the turn, it swaps attack and health. So that's very interesting. You drop this down, and it's a straight up, like, it's a wall that you've got to go through. But the next turn, it could very well be smacking your opponent for a good amount of damage. And our sneak peek 3, this is actually the new enchant that's coming through, and it's called Shroud. It's a supplement to Spell Shield, and we're actually going to be testing it in the upcoming patch where it will be introduced. And what it says is, this character, meaning unit or hero, can't be targeted. And at the start of the turn, you dust the enchantment. Now in a previous episode, I was discussing about the difference between an enchantment and a spell. So this counts as an enchantment. It still can be overwritten. I don't know how, because you can't target it directly. Whether or not a blanket effect, something like, who is it? There's a light unit that has glory that when you hit the opponent, all of your units get spell shield. I'm wondering whether or not that might actually turn into an all your units get shroud, which if you have a stealth unit, you can't attack it, and you can't target it, at least not until you hit the opponent. So Shroud on stealth units is going to be very interesting. So that's the news. So all the cards are being reworked in the new engine, new artwork, new mechanics, new functionality, stuff we've never seen before, all very excited for. So, that's news out of the way. We're going to go on to our deep dive into Wisdom. So, the first card we have, and we're going to do this just like we did the Strength Prism, and that we're going to go over armor by mana cost, and I picked 2, if possible, from each mana cost that clearly defines what you can expect from Wisdom cards in general. So the first one is Jacko. Jacko, a 1-cost 2/2 guard with Death. Both heroes get a dark spell. This is a great early defender, which you'll find Wisdom has a lot of defense type cards, as well as removal type cards. So this is a great one. It also has a lot of card draw capabilities inside its core mechanics. So as you can see, both heroes get a dark spell. So that's great for you, because if you only have this card, this creature, and you have another dark spell that is critical to your build, you will automatically draw into it if it's the only one in your deck. So it's a good little defensive front, and it replaces itself. Virtual card advantage. Go. The second one is Hydrate. Now this is a card that has been a lot of people, it's a mixed bundle on it, really. Some players hate it because you don't want to give your opponent cards. Some players like it because, well, you fill your hand back up. And I have actually visited the Holy Grail with this card. I have killed my opponent from the exhaust damage using a Hydrate. So it's a very niche scenario. I wish I'd had it recorded. I might have to try doing it again just so I can let you guys see exactly how it works. So that's our 1 cost. Let's go to our 2 cost now. First up on our 2 cost is Zavi. Zavi is an amazing creature. 2/3 for 2, but that's not its main purpose. Both players draw a 5-cost or more spell. It's a tutor. It's just straight up, you can go searching. If you have your deck set up so you only have a 5-cost spell, kabam! There you go. You have your tutor. You can drop that 2-cost and have your spell for your big combo, whatever, later on. What is that? Is that Arcane Ray? Did I not put Arcane Ray? Okay. That's Arcane Ray. Arcane Ray is a 3-cost, deal damage to a target equal to your opponent's hand size. So this is synergistic in that it gives your opponent a card, which also increases the damage of Arcane Ray. Next card is a Bogey Bogey. This card is a lot of fun and is a great early game tempo swing, because move target 1-cost or less unit to your deck. So essentially you play this down and you steal whatever your opponent put down in their first couple of turns. It's a removal spell. It more or less replaces itself because it puts another card into your deck. And it also is a 3/2 with Wither. You can't really go wrong for those stats. On to 3. The first card in 3-cost is Trapper Keeper. Now this one is almost like Jacko. We look back, Jacko is a 2 guard, and Death, both heroes draw a dark spell. Well, Trapper Keeper is a 2/2 guard for 3, a little bit more expensive, but upon death, you and only you profit from its death. So obviously the objective of your opponent is to smash your face. They're going to have to go through this. So you just avoided taking damage, and you gain 2 spells in the process. It's a great card. It still works into your early game defensive mechanisms. And the next card we're looking at is Grove Tender. Now, this card is a combo card. So 3-cost, let's take a look at it. 3-cost for a 3/4 with guard. And when you play, you discard all the 1-cost or less units in your deck and give your hero 1 health for each. Now, when you discard, you go directly from your deck into your discard pile. So you can actually use this to set up a lot of different little combos. If you fill your deck with a bunch of 1 cost or less dark spells, a card like was a card that deals X damage or -X/-X, depending upon the number of dark spells you have. Grave Royal. Grave Royal in combination with this card, you fill your discard up with a bunch of 1 cost spells, and you get a lot of value out of that Grave Royal. You could also, if you combine it with a Sky Phoenix, which, spoiler alert, we're going to see it later, Sky Phoenix can resurrect itself based on a number of elements in the discard pile. If you can use this to fill up your discard pile with a bunch of 1 cost, cheap spells of each element, you'll be able to resurrect that Phoenix no problem from the get-go later on in the game. So there's a lot of little combos that can be done with it, and you'll just have to kind of look at it and see what you can come up with, any fancy things you can do yourself. We're going to move on to 4 now. 4, we have Forest Fire, one of the first big sweepers in Wisdom. So do 3 damage to all units, dust that are killed, or sorry, any killed to summon Elderwoods for that player. So it has a downside in that it will replace your opponent's creatures with Elderwoods, but it does dust them, and it hits your creatures too. Now I do know in the upcoming patch the dust part of this is going to be removed, so it's just going to be killed. So you're not going to get nuked as much yourself if you're playing your creatures down and you don't want anything to happen to them, or you want to be able to resurrect them and not have them be dusted. Also, if you take a look at the previous cards, so we go back to Trapper Keeper, Death, draw 2 spells. Go back to Jacko, Death, draw a spell. Forest Fire is not a bad card, even though it hits your units, because once you get to the point of kill and not dust, you'll reap the benefits of your units dying, and you'll still replace them with Elderwoods, which will be just pure net value for you, really. And then Drum Up. Drum Up is a good little cost-effective spell to draw. It's draw 3, but you draw a 1 cost unit, a 2 cost unit, and a 3 cost unit, which this game is a lot of the game is based around your creature damage. You can't win without smack in the face. Well, you can win. It's just very, very hard. But most often than not, you're going to be smacking the face of your opponent. So paying 4 to draw up 3 units, great value, great cost. So we're going to go into 5. Now 5, I actually went with 3 cards, only because 5 is loaded with value cards for Wisdom. So the first card, Lost in the Fog. Give target unit -5/-0 and dust units with 0 attack. Now, you know how Wither works. You can use Wither to get all your opponent's creatures down to 0. All of those Elderwoods that you were worried about just giving with the Forest Fire, all of those now get dusted. It is just a straight up good removal, 5 cost, very solid, a great way to finish off some very high attack value creatures. The second one, Jakintsu. Now, on the previous, I think I spoke about it on the previous episode when we were talking about meta, and there was a high value meta deck based on gaining a ton of health. Jakintsu is one of those key cards to it. So, a 2/4 lifesteal, at the end of your turn, give your hero +1 health for each card in your hand. Now, if you note, there's a lot of card draw mechanics in Wisdom, so you can fully expect to drop this for 5, have a 2/4 lifesteal, you're probably going to be gaining 5 or 6 life by the end of that turn. You'll also have the X spell there. The X spell there is you gain life equal to the rest of your mana, because the X is the variable of whatever mana you have left. There's also a caveat on there. If the unit has 100 health, it gains 100 power. I've never seen this. Apparently, the devs have been able to pull it off a couple times, but that would just be absolutely ridiculous to see that on stream or just even recorded video. I'll try it. It'll be another one of those, hey, let's hunt for this trophy. And the third card is Gift of Aya. Now, I fully expected this card to get a nerf in the near future. I didn't see anything in the patch, but it is a busted card, and again, part of that deck that just gained so much health that it out-resourced you no problem. So for 5 mana, you get +1 max mana, you draw an earth spell, so it replaces itself, so depending upon how you construct your deck, you may have a tutor, and you give your hero X health equal to your hand size. Again, all about the drawing cards, so in this counts, the earth card you draw counts towards the health you're gaining. So at the very least, you get 1 mana, an earth spell, and you're going to gain at least 1 life, probably more because Wisdom is chock-filled with draw spells. Just, wow. Alright, so you can see why I needed to go 3 cards deep on this. Let's go to 6 cost. First in 6 cost is Extinction Event. Damage each unit equal to its cost. This is a good card that can wipe a good portion of the field. It doesn't have Wither, so it won't just take out creatures entirely. Also note that it says damage, so the way it currently functions, Spell Shield will, because even though the unit is attacking itself essentially, Spell Shield will disrupt any damage taken from Extinction Event, but it is a good little board wipe, and it can deal a lot of damage if used properly. Next is Deepest. Deepest is, it's annoying. 6 cost for a 2/11 guard. 11 health is a lot to deal with when you're going towards the mid-game. Sure, you're getting a lot of creatures out, but you're probably going to be running into this roadblock, and it's just a pain in the butt to get past, especially if you have ways to heal it. Now, its added effect is at the end of the turn, if your deck is empty, you draw a water card. So essentially, at the end of if you have no cards in your deck, you're going to draw 2 cards, one at the beginning of your turn and one at the end of your turn. So it has value, inherent value in, at the very least, you're going to get a replacement card out of it on the condition that your deck is empty. Going on to 7. 7, we see Albane. This is one of my favorite cards. The second I saw it, I fell in love. 7 cost, Wither, summon, do 3 damage to all other units. So it doesn't nuke itself, but 3 damage, Wither damage to all units. It might seem heavily costed, but this card can deal a lot of damage. It can wipe board states. It can change the entire tempo of a game, just having it come down. And the fact that it doesn't kill itself, sticks on the board, and you can probably get rid of whatever gets put down next turn by your opponent. The second card is Entwail. This card is controversial only because it has the potential to be absolutely devastating. You can summon 2 units with roots. Depending upon the way that you construct your deck, you can actually build a deck that is nothing but cards, spells that summon units, and only have like a pool of 4 to 5 units in your deck that Entwail will pull from. It's great. It's a combo card. You can pull out some significantly huge creatures with it, and it can be devastating and can be game ending. On to 8, we are looking at Octavian. So Octavian, 8 cost with Banner. Glory, get 4 mana. Now the 4 mana is very important because what you see in that 8 cost spell is for 8 cost, you can draw 8 water spells. An additional 4 mana after you're already at 8, so you're attacking with this probably on 9, 13 mana. You can play down or play this out if it lives. Draw up 8 cards, 8 water spells, which inevitably be put back into your deck when you overdraw. And you have an additional like 5 mana left over in order to be able to cast any of them. It's just great value. Next you have Eldest. It doesn't see a lot of play, but it is really, really good in that it has armor, and Glory, give your hero armor. Now, that effect does not leave. If you get the glory trigger off of this, your hero will have armor until the end of the game. And I can't explain to you, I shouldn't need to explain to you just exactly how powerful armor is. Now we're going into 9. There's that Sky Phoenix I was talking about. So, a 7-8, it is getting nerfed by the way, but right now it is a 7-8 guard lifesteal, death, dust, 8 other cards in your grave of different elements. So back to the grove, grove whatever? Grove Tender. There we are. And you can just fill your deck or fill your discard with a bunch of things, and it'll actually resummon this unit. The one cast spell is a damage spell based upon the number of allies you have on board. And then Earth Dragon. 6/10, big roadblock, guard, roadblock, and enemies are summoned with roots. This is your ultimate roadblock creature. 10 damage is not easy to get off. Late game a little bit easier, but still, if you entwail into this, your opponents are going to be taking at least 2 turns to get their creatures down, just to get rid of the roots, and then have to eat through this creature. It's a roadblock. And then we only have 1 in 10, and that's Sky Aura. This also is great when you combine it with that Grove Tender. So it costs 1 less for each element in your grave, and it's draw 3 cards of different elements. So the more elements you have in your deck, in your discard, the cheaper this becomes. You can get this down to like 2. Yeah, you can get this down to pay 2 for draw 3 cards of different elements. So as we can go over, there's a lot of defensive mechanics in Wisdom. There's also a lot of card draw in Wisdom. And that being said, Wisdom is not a deck that you want to play mono. It isn't. Wisdom is a supplement prism. You want to play it with another prism. You do not want to do mono. Now, like I did last time, there will be a bonus episode where I will take all the cards in that you've seen here today, and we will run through we will run through a bonus episode and actually go through a couple matches so you can see for yourself how the cards function, and the fact that, as I said here, Wisdom does not. No. Don't run it mono. Do yourself a favor. Do not run it mono. Right? And here are the credits. Thought I was gone, didn't you? Haha. Nope, not gone yet. So I will see you next week, and hopefully we'll have some news from TwitchCon, which is where they are right now. So I'll see you in the sky.